Okay, I mentioned before I have Anthony Kiedis because he's again not an actual great singer, but he is one of my 10 favorites for sure. So, but just because of him not being much of an actual singer, he's number 10.
All right. DJ, number 10 for you.
Number 10 was Meatloaf.
It was Meatloaf.
It was
Interesting.
Meatloaf. Absolutely.
Love that. I'm actually changing my number 10 now as I just
You poor dude. Let me tell you something. Ernest, EJ texted us earlier. He's like, I may still be working on my list as we do this.
because I'm gonna throw Phil Collins number 10 because even though Phil Collins is my top 4 favorite artists of all time, sometimes I forget he was a front man too also. Even though we know he's leading with Genesis, it doesn't register the same way for me. But as you mentioned Phil Collins here, I'm like, fuck it, I'm doing that. So I took out Robert Plant and put in Phil Collins. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care.
All right.
So Phil Collins is my number 10 front man all time. Number 9, Rob.
Number 9, I have Michael Stipe, R.E.M.
Ooh. All right. I get it. I totally get it. 9 for you, DJ?
Number 9 was Axl Rose because Guns N' Roses is probably my favorite all-time rock band.
Is it really?
Yeah, if they're not my absolute favorite, they're definitely top 3.
Okay.
But there was a lot of personal bias that went into my list as well.
That is fine. What are your top 3 bands of all time?
Top 3 bands of all time, probably Black Sabbath, Guns N' Roses, and Judas Priest.
Okay, interesting. All right. 9 for me. You'll love this one, Rob. Bono.
Okay.
Bono, not the greatest singer in the world, but as a front man, that guy has presence. He has presence. He can hold a crowd better than a lot of people I've seen in my lifetime. They are still a bucket list for me to see live. U2. So Bono for me, number 9. Number 8. Rob.
This is one name we haven't heard yet. Billy Joe Armstrong.
Green Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm a huge Green Day fan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh,
yeah, I like Green Day.
Do you like Dookie more than anything else, or are you more of a American idiot?
Dookie's number 1. Yeah.
Dookie?
Yeah.
Dookie was actually my gateway to metal. Like Green Day was my gateway to heavier music. It was Green Day to Rage to Metallica, and then boom, there you go.
It's an interesting road trip.
Yeah, actually, it went from MJ to Green Day to MJ to Slash, Guns N' Roses to the same track.
Yeah.
So, all right. That was number 8, right?
Yeah.
All right, 8 for you, DJ.
Stevie Nicks.
I like it. Fleetwood Mac.
Yep.
Yeah, she's a legend. She's a legend.
Absolutely, and just sex on wheels at the time.
I'm gonna shock you guys. I doubt anybody has this guy on the list at all, and he wasn't mentioned at all at 50. I'm number 8. I'm gonna go Scott Weiland.
Oh,
STP.
Okay.
STP.
Okay.
And Velvet Revolver.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. He actually was he actually really good very good vocalist. Really good front man. He gets lost in himself because in that era with grunge, of course, at Alice in Chains and Nirvana and Soundgarden and all those bands, they get kind of lost in themselves a little bit there. But he did what he could. He did what he could to stand out, honestly. So
yeah.
I
don't hate it.
Here. Scott Weiland, number 8. All right, number 7 for you, Rob.
Number 7, that Robert Plant.
Are you big Southern guy too?
Not huge, but I mean, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I do like a lot of their stuff, but I'm not like a super duper Zeppelin fan. But the stuff I do like, I like a whole lot.
Okay. All right, 7 for you, DJ.
Ann Wilson from Heart.
I love it. I fucking love it. Love it. Love it. Again, she is. If I told you, regardless of genre, any female vocalist, 10 vocalists, she's not top 10 for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably top 5. I'm not even joking.
For female vocalists,
yeah,
absolutely, undoubtedly top 5.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Maybe even top 3 when I line up all the female vocalists that I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah. She's a top 3.
Yeah, she's incredible, and I know a lot of metalheads would appreciate her especially too.
Yeah,
one of my really good friends is a big metalhead too, but his favorite band outside of like metal is Heart.
Well, you got to think about Heart in the 70s was damn near hard rock. I mean, you can't look at the 80s stuff, Bad Animals that they did. You got to go further back. You got to go back to Magic Man, Barracuda. Mm-hmm. That was Heart.
Yeah. All right, 7 for me. Steven Tyler. I mean, I won't say I'm a huge Aerosmith fan, But I do like their stuff, and you got to give him credit. He's another guy that still takes time and whatnot. Unique voice, not the greatest vocalist, but again, you hear a vocal a part, and you know who he is.
Yeah.
And Steven Tyler's in that conversation. So I gotta get Steven Tyler's love. So it's number 7, Steven Tyler for me. Number 6, Rob.
Prince.
That's interesting.
Okay.
No one mentioned him here at all.
I mean, he had a lot of bands, Prince and the Revolution, Prince and the New Power Generation.
Of course,
Prince, and he had several different bands. So,
and he had some good rocking songs. Like
yes,
Prince had some rock songs.
And now I should modify my list again now.
yeah, I'm thinking about that too. I should have had Prince on the list.
No, because Prince is my third favorite artist of all time, period. So if Phil's gonna be in that top 10, then Prince gotta be there too, right?
Yeah.
No, I'll leave it alone for the time being.
Yeah.
6 for you, DJ.
Steve Perry.
I love it.
Yeah, from Journey. Journey's one of my. I love Journey. According to my younger brother, Journey is the greatest rock band of all time.
So, I feel like with Steve Perry, like we don't think of him as a great front man,
right?
Like on stage.
Yeah.
As a vocalist, though, he's probably a top 3 all-time rock singer. I mean, you talk about Freddie, you talk about maybe another guy you want to put in there, and then Steve Perry's in that conversation.
Absolutely.
So yeah, he's getting his flowers there. All right, number 6 for me. Hold on, pop this up quick. I went Kurt Cobain because while I wasn't a big Nirvana fan back in the day, they've grown on me through the years. I've gotten older. They've been I appreciate as I've gotten older. I don't know if Nirvana would be as big if they continued past 94. That's one of the things I always say. Like Nirvana was big for those 5 years, but because they didn't have the room to fail because they ended as quickly as they started, kind of like the Beatles. Also, the Beatles only lasted 7 years and then they were done.
Yeah.
A lot of artists don't have that time to dip for a little while and fail.
I think had Kurt Cobain not died, Nirvana still would have been split up as a band by 94.
Because of his issues. And
I think eventually Dave Grohl was going to go do Dave Grohl stuff. Like I think he very much loved Nirvana. I think he still misses that. But Dave Grohl was destined for something much different and in a lot of ways much greater with much more longevity. So I think eventually those guys probably they either would just clashed or they would have just dissolved, and kind of Cobain would have gone into his I can't think of the guy right now. Never mind. We'll move on from it. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think now 2023 now did Foo Fighters surpass Nirvana as in terms of high popularity, or you think Nirvana still by legacy, or where are you guys on that?
Nirvana gets it by legacy,
right?
I think Nirvana's peak popularity was higher.
Yeah.
But I mean, Foo Fighters has been consistently, a popular band for 20 years now.
Yeah.
Well, and Dave Grohl has so much cachet just being a good human.
Yeah,
that's true.
There's so many stories about this guy just being a straight up stand up dude, and I think that's carried him just as far as his music has.
It's also unfair too because again, Nirvana ended at the top of their game. Like Nirvana was one of the biggest bands on the planet at 94 when Kurt Cobain passed away.
Yeah.
So it's almost unfair to say that because again, Nirvana didn't have a chance to fail. Even if you like, there's like an album or two that Foo Fighters do not like. They had a chance to fail, have a down time, if you want to call it that.
And they never did. They
never did, back. Honestly. Right.
Bounce back. Yeah.
So high power is, yes, Nirvana. Like Nirvana's the ultimate warrior. Foo Fighters is probably Hogan.
Okay.
The longevity.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's how the way I see it. 5, Rob.
Well, speaking of Dave Grohl.
Oh wow! Nice segue.
Nice segue.
And he's local here. He grew up in like Northern Virginia, so he's heavily immersed into the local scene. And so yeah, we love that guy here. So
what I love about Dave Grohl too, especially, is that he's so diverse in his music taste. Like he's a massive metalhead too, also, but also could do other genres also. He has such respect for music as a whole, as an art, and I've always respected that about him more than anything else.
Yeah, and because they did like a little series of kind of from one of their albums. It was called Sonic Highways. They did like, and they recorded like a different song in each city, and so they got into like and they did like a little documentary for each city, and so they explored the music scene and everything. Right. And so of course they did one for DC because he's from around here, and so I mean he's heavily immersed because there's a local kind of flavor of music here called go-go, and he was heavily just immersed and knowledgeable about all that too, and be honest, you don't see a lot. Well, you see some white folks know what it is if they grew up around it. But,
right.
But he was heavily just he knew all the players and all of that stuff, and so we love him to death around here. So he's number 5 for me.
Right, 5 for you, DJ.
Robert Plant.
Okay.
Yeah, Robert Plant's number 5. I like Zeppelin, love their stuff. I wouldn't say he's a overall great singer. His voice as he got older didn't age well. But yeah, the early Zeppelin stuff hits it for me.
All right. Number 5 is another guy that no one's mentioned, not in the top 50 Billboard mentioned. I'll say it anyway. Number 5 is Corey Taylor, Slipknot, and Stone Sour. Another guy that I respect. I mean, he's fantastic at what he does. Slipknot, as heavy as they are, and he's a great singer in that. And then the Stone Sour is a lot lighter than that, and he can still rock like anybody else. Corey Taylor to me is, especially now as you look at his list now, grossly underrated now.
Yeah, grossly underrated.
Grossly underrated. If I had to pick if I was starting a band right now and I had to find a singer I want to start a band with, he'd be the guy I'd probably start a band with most likely.
Let me ask you this: Slipknot or Stone Sour? Personally.
Probably Slipknot because I prefer the heavy shit.
Yeah.
But it's a lot closer to get credit for because Stone Sour is really, really good. It's really,
they are.
Really good. Yeah.
See, I prefer Stone Sour over Slipknot. Slipknot has a lot of songs that I like, but if I had to choose one over the other, mainly because I'm not a big fan of like just screaming and growly vocals, and he sings in Stone Sour.
But I think too, also in Slipknot, he sings as well too in Slipknot.
I've heard some Slipknot stuff.
And
like,
the work and the Wait and Bleed.
Yes, and there's another one that I can't. I can't think. It's late anyway.
It's okay.
Yeah,
but there, especially as the band went on through the years, you even saw a lot of Stone Sour influence on Slipknot actually.
Yes, some of it kind of bleed. They overlap.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think he's so underrated. He's a great front man in general, performance too on top of that. So, you ever seen his thing he does on stage, like acoustic things on stage where he does SpongeBob SquarePants?
No.
Oh, I gotta show that to you. He does like the voice, everything like dead on. It's amazing. It's actually really, really funny, and the whole crowd is singing with him too. It's awesome. All right, number 4, Rob.
Roger Daltrey. I'm a big Who guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
Man, I love all of this stuff, man.
They're in the top 15 also too, right? For on the Billboard, right? Top 15, right? At 13, I think it was, up to 14. They're definitely top 20.
Yeah, Daltrey was 12.
Yeah. So
he was number 12.
Yeah. No, I think it's fantastic. The Who's amazing. Obviously his voice has gone to shit in recent years, but he's still, his legacy wise is phenomenal. 4, is it 4 or 5?
4.
4 for you, DJ.
Rob Halford, Judas Priest.
Again, I said I saw these guys in 06, and I thought they were incredible.
And the old man still got it.
Yeah.
He still got it.
Yeah. 4 for me, and he's actually personally higher on this list, really, honestly. But only I put other guy ahead of him because of legacy. But 4 for me is Chris Cornell.
Okay, yeah.
Chris Cornell.
I respect it.
If I tell you top 3 rock voices all time, he's in top 3. It's him, Freddie, and probably Steve Perry. But
I couldn't say all time, but of his generation, absolutely. In the early 90s up to 2000, absolutely top
Let
three.
me ask you this: do you prefer Soundgarden or Audioslave?
Soundgarden. I wasn't a big Audioslave fan.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So Audioslave was actually 3/4 of a Rage Against the Machine, and then him, and then him. So you hear the Rage music in the music, but then you hear Chris Cornell's vocals. It's kind of unique stuff though. The first album was really good. Later stuff, not so much, but is what it is. No, I'm with you. I'm a Soundgarden guy first. So, so Chris Cornell number 4 for me. Number 3, Rob.
Better.
Any better?
Yes. And it's funny. I'm not like a super huge Pearl Jam fan as far as their whole catalog or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I will listen to if one of their songs comes on the radio, I will always stop and listen. And he has one of the best live singing voices. Just maybe the best live singing voice I've ever heard.
So Pearl Jam is weird because I love their debut album. I love 10. That's the debut, right? 10?
Yeah, 10 was the debut.
Yeah. Fantastic album. And that's all I like from Pearl Jam is that. Everything else I don't really care for. Are you the same way too?
Yeah, I'm not a big Pearl Jam fan. That first album had some bangers.
Yeah.
After that, I fell off quick.
Yeah.
Because to me, they're some people studio singers. I think they're the opposite. I think listening to their recorded stuff doesn't really do anything for me.
Right.
But because there's a Pearl Jam station on Sirius or whatever, and if they ever do, if I'm ever flipping channels, and if I stop there and they're doing they're on a live cut, I always listen.
Right. All right. 3. Wait, what? 3? Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
3. DJ, for you, 3.
3 for me was Ronnie James Dio.
Yes.
Absolutely. And again, I think it's just a huge error that he's not even in the top 50.
That is
all.
Asinine.
And this is a guy whose musical career transcended hard rock. The guy started in I don't even. Did you watch the documentary on Paramount Plus on Ronnie James Dio?
Not yet. I need to. You told me to watch it.
Absolutely incredible, man. It takes it all the way back to the start of his career. He wasn't even in hard rock. He started off in light rock, doo-wop type stuff.
Really?
Almost like a barbershop type band. And then it kind of evolved from there. Then he got into this band called was it Elf? Yeah, it was a band called Elf, and that was starting to morph into what would eventually become Rainbow. And then, it just really good timeline of his career. And you have a much higher respect for just how talented he was. And again, a guy who could deliver just as well live as he could in the studio.
Right. No, he's not the biggest fan of his work necessarily, but as a vocalist, he stands out. He absolutely stands out.
Well, and we talked earlier about Sammy Hagar coming in for Van Halen and just completely not altering the sounds as much. I mean, it was still very much Van Halen, but he came in and made excellent music. Heaven and Hell, the first album with Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio, is fucking phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And it sometimes goes forgotten because everybody thinks Black Sabbath, they automatically think Ozzy. And Ronnie James Dio put out 2 solid albums with Black Sabbath.
There's no question Dio's better vocals than Ozzy Osbourne. Let's be clear about that. Anybody saying that is not know what the hell they're talking about. All right, number 3 for me. I'm not even a fan of the guy or a fan of the band at all. I mean, very few songs I like here and there. But again, we just mentioned earlier, we got to give him props for his longevity. Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
I mean, again, he's 80 years old, still doing the thing today.
Yeah.
I what am I gonna do with that? I can't sit there and
I can't argue your logic, man.
Yep. That's all. He's not even my top 20 or 30 frontmen all time. But I'm weighing both bias as well as legacy and longevity, and I have to give this guy credit, man.
Yeah.
So Mick Jagger number 3 for me. Much I hate to say it, but I have to say it.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, Rob.
Freddie Mercury. We said, like I said earlier, that he should be 1 or 2 for anybody. So I got him number 2, so it was obvious who my number 1 is, and so I just said, look, it is what it is. That's my guy. So Freddie's number 2. So
yeah. I'm a diehard Queen fan, so you already know how I feel about that. 2 for you, DJ.
Bruce Dickinson, Iron Maiden. Huge Iron Maiden fan. That is my bucket list band to see is Iron Maiden.
Wait, you never seen him before?
I've never seen them.
I'm surprised.
I kind of came late to the party on Like my first real metal album back in like junior high was Power Slave. And at that point I was listening to like ZZ Top, and Loverboy was big at the time. Dire Straits was big at the time. That was the stuff I was into back then. And all of a sudden this album, it was a cassette, landed in my lap, and I put it in, and it was on loop for months. Absolutely blew my mind. And, you know, I didn't really pick up a lot of the other stuff until much later in life, but Power Slave was the album for a long time.
So Iron Maiden was your gateway to metal?
Kinda. I listened to little things here, but my true gateway into metal was Iron Maiden. Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. All right. So I'm just guys right now. These next two for me are 1A, 1B.
Okay.
And this should surprise anybody because these two guys represent my two favorite bands in history of music. 1B, James Hetfield, Metallica. So you already know how I feel. He should look. People may not think of him as a great frontman the same way like these other guys are, but Metallica has now existed for 42 years. They're still kicking ass. They're still touring right now, you know, and it is egregious that he's on that list to begin with. And this is straight homerism here. He's probably number one for me, honestly. But I have my other guy is 1A, 1B. I have to give him props as well too. So 1B, James Hetfield for me.
Okay.
So there you go. All right, and number one. This is easy, Rob. Tell the folks why this guy is number one for you.
Okay, because look, if you are a diehard U2 fan like I am, then it's a religious experience going to see those guys live. Okay, and I've seen them live like 4 times, and because again, I get where people like if somebody's not a fan, they don't get it. I understand, but if you are, his voice is just it speaks to you like nothing else, and he just expresses. They have love songs, they have political songs, they have songs about just being in pain, about addiction, and you can just get lost in his singing easily.
Yeah.
And then look at him. He sings different stuff, different ways. Like if you go through their whole catalog, you'll hear stuff and you'll just be like, "Wow, I didn't know he could do that." Like he does the soaring rock ballads, like stuff like this one's called "Bad," and it's about addiction. And then, but in the last minute of it, he just hits this, just goes through this whole thing, and it is. You'll just be like, "Oh my God, this is."
Yeah.
And but then later on, they have a song called "Lemon." It's off of Zooropa, and he does this whole falsetto. He sounds like Prince singing, and you would not know it was him if somebody have to tell you it was him singing if you didn't know better, right? And it's called "Lemon," and I'd go listen to it. It's and so it's just a totally different thing from what they did, so he just can do he's way more versatile than he gets credit for. Like you said, he's great just front man as far as live performances.
Oh, absolutely, without question.
And now one thing that's always funny about him, he's like he was just he's a fake guitar player.
What do you mean?
Like, okay, because their songs they do live, and look, the Edge is the guitar player.
Of course,
there are songs where he picks up the guitar, and if you look real closely, it's like, okay, come on.
He's not actually playing it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like, he's strumming it, but like it's like, okay, yeah, okay. I mean, it's a prop, right? But
That's funny.
So I say, go ahead.
I mean, it's just, but it's. I mean, but still, I mean, it works as a prop, right? He really does play like when they're practicing or when they're putting a song together, like in a studio or whatever. But yeah, it's just, I mean, again, like for those of us who are big fans of the group, just hearing it's just a magical thing.
Oh, I'm with you on that.
And it's, I mean, Yeah, they're good. Listen to Lemon, listen to Bad. Those are two in particular. And those, just if you want an example, just a different type of things you can do. Like those are two to really listen to. And it's, and in the songs like Sunday Bloody Sunday, you just like the way he just conveys.
That's a great song.
That is
the pain in his voice from living in Ireland with the whole conflict and all of that. The with the Northern Ireland IRA and all that. I mean, and for somebody who only knows about that from hearing about it in history class, to hear him sing about it, it's just like, oh man.
So I'll say this too. Also, another friend of this podcast, Jack, Boston Jack, who's been on the show since inception, 12 years now. He's a massive YouTube fan himself. He'll actually be on the show next week. Because him and his son, who's another diehard YouTube fan, is going to Vegas in 2 weeks.
I wish I could, man. I wish I could.
They're going to the opening night of the residency they're doing up in Vegas.
I want to do so bad.
So he's coming on the show next week to talk about it.
cool.
So yeah, it's funny you said that. So that's actually said that. I remember my friend Jack was talking about that. So yeah, I love YouTube. First of all, I'm a big YouTube fan. So not hardcore like you are, but definitely appreciate them. And Bono, my top 10, like I said. So. All right, number 1 for you, DJ.
Excuse me. That came out of nowhere. Freddie Mercury, absolutely hands down. I said earlier that Guns N' Roses is probably my favorite all-time rock band. Mm-hmm. I would almost argue with myself that it's actually Queen. Just absolutely. I've loved Queen since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And, my mom introduced me to Queen, and I've always loved them. I want to talk about somebody with just dynamic range, can sing across the spectrum. He's done some really gravelly, hard rock the guy made a hit song out of a bicycle ride.
Yep.
And then just that doesn't even.
He did opera too.
He did opera trained.
Yeah.
And that's not even accounting his presence on stage.
Oh God.
And not only a top singer, but a top stage presence frontman for me as well.
Yeah. Same here. Number 1, Freddie Mercury. So 1A, 1B. So Metallica's my favorite band of all time. Queen's number 2. I put Freddie number 1 ahead of James only because of the fact the legacy thing. Only because he's not here with us anymore. I want to give Freddie. I want to give him more props. What can you say about Freddie Mercury? I mean, I've said it on this podcast many times over. I did a podcast with our good friend Big Jim of 3CT on his show. We did last year actually we ranked our top 10 Queen songs.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of songs in there people won't even consider top 10 because a lot of those are deep cuts. Freddie Mercury is, to me, he is the coup de grace of vocals for me. The guy was incredible. We lost him too soon, obviously. But man, Queen and Freddie is just amazing. I wish I can go back in time and see him live. That's my number 1 bucket list because I've seen Michael live before, so I can say that already. I've seen Metallica many times over. If I could see Queen with Freddie Mercury live, I mean I could die happy.
Yeah.
So there's our top 10 frontmen of all time.